All right, welcome to the fourth and final game of the evening. Up this time is Monarchy, a 2D side-scrolling strategy game of resource management, base defense, and conquest. Unleash your strategic brilliance in this 2D side-scrolling strategy game, where you must build a base, manage resources, explore the mysterious forest, and conquer your enemies. Right, so that does put a nice nutshell around this game, as it is that a 2D strategy game where you play as a monarch of some kind, assume a king, queen, but could be a prince, viscount, baron, you know, some grand duchess, whatever title you want
Duchy.
to put there. Um, yeah, and
The
it's
territory
less about.
ruled by a duke is traditionally a duchy.
Yes, thank you. My point is that it's less about what your monarch is called and more that your monarch is a monarch. As you are directing traffic more or less. Um, as you can see, Petty Fan here, gathering the coins in order to build the structures needed to progress in the game. And what progression is required depends on the scenario. There are three, if I'm remembering correctly. There's Bandit Land. The bandits are hiding in caves. You have to clear them out. In the summer setting, the Siege, build a mighty trebuchet and siege an enemy castle in this autumn setting, and Winter Night. The harsh winter has many secrets waiting to be discovered. Find them and survive in this winter setting where enemies randomly attack from one side each night, which honestly isn't a change from the other scenarios. Um, anyway, the point is, you know, you've got to gather resources in order to build structures, in order to build up your kingdom and get to your goal. And your resources are fairly simplified. Your catch-all is the coins, um, as represented in the field at the upper left. That is your carrying capacity. Um, get too overstuffed and the coins will start literally overflowing. Um, and this is done in tandem with wood. You will cut down the forest in order to, build the structures. Structures you'll be building, pretty typical. Um, Base, the tool maker, the um, blacksmith, like the archery. I'm not sure what you call that. The one who supplies the archer their bows. You know, um, and so on and so forth. So, important quirks of this game that will determine how much you like this or not. Your royal is very defenseless on his own, or her own, depending on what you select. Um, you see that archer that's always following you? That's your means of attack. And how much punch you bring is dependent on how many followers you got. You yourself, because you're a king apparently or a queen, that means you're above violence, which is very much not how it worked in the medieval era. Let me tell you.
Mm-hmm.
But this is very important because your archer can get killed. If your archer gets killed, you're defenseless. And there are a couple of ways to die. One is if you lose your crown. That'll happen if you get attacked by enemies and you don't have any money. They'll drain your coins first, then you lose your crown. Or the much more likely to happen is if they get to the central tent there and hit it once. Yeah, I'll be honest, I didn't get far in this game because it's very fucking brutal. Its difficulty. Like, night 1 can end you very quickly. I think the furthest I got in the actual scenarios was night 5. And this game purports to have shiftable difficulty. There was no difference between normal and easy. Like, easy was still hard. And
usually you want difficulty settings to make a difference. Also, I get having an archer at your side to do fighting, but you might want to have like a knight or something with a shield to like stop things from getting.
You can recruit them,
or fellow cavalrymen.
Yeah. You gotta unlock that unit type. Your default is the archer. And the archers are kind of naff, especially since they're not always straight shots. They'll do this weird curved shot a good chunk of the time. That's less than helpful.
On one hand, this is how actual bow physics work, but on the other hand, actual bow physics work over a much longer range.
Yeah. So, look at this game and then tell me I'm looking for actual bow physics here.
I didn't say you were looking for it.
No. That's really my big
Okay,
problem.
dude, that thing was point blank. You do not need to try to hit the exact top of the deer's head.
Yeah, see that arching? That's what I'm talking about here. That's the kind of yeah, this right here. This is why this game can go eat my ass.
Also, I don't know if the devs have heard about this, but there's this thing that horses do when you drive them up to people, which is step on the people and then they die.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been helpful.
That's one of the major advantages that cavalry have, besides being able to move faster.
Yeah. I'm like, but you see my problem with this game, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's not just that, you've only got the one archer here at the beginning. It's that he's pretty fucking useless.
Well, no, that's exactly why I was thinking you might want a guy with like a sword or spear and shields to like stand next to you and actually physically ward people off.
They do, and you can get that unit. They do show up, but they're not the default. For whatever reason, the archer is the default, which is kind of how it's backwards. Usually, the first unit you have is the guy with the sword.
Mm-hmm.
Or like pikemen or something.
Yeah, something that has
in realistic terms, it's pikemen, because the amount of training needed to be a pikeman is hold long pointy thing and brace it in the opponent's direction.
If not pike, then spear. The point is the archer is usually like a couple of units down the road. Here it's the default, and kind of shows why that's a bad idea, because their effectiveness on their own is kind of not there. And their end result is you will get killed a lot in this game. And honestly, this game isn't interesting or compelling enough to really stick with it, which is kind of why I quit after a couple hours. That's the long and short of it here. As a strategy game, it's incredibly simplistic. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's also not necessarily a thing that's going to hold my interest over, Civilization, Command and Conquer, uh, any Paradox game, etc., etc., etc. Hell, I'd probably play Sword and Soldiers over this. And that's really all I got. It's like that difficulty curve is less a curve and more a sheer cliff that you fall off. Patty, is there anything you want to add to the conversation?
Not really.
All right.
It's a game.
Yeah. Not helping in terms of pricing. This is $14.99. Way too much money for something this simple and brutal. I'd say $10 most. And yeah, that's about all I got here. It's a nice try, but it's just too brutal to be actually good, and too simple to be actually interesting, as in terms of the strategy. Oh well, nonetheless. Right, so that'll about do it for not just this review, but this review session. And this will wrap up the 2024 year of reviews. So coming up on the week ahead, on Wednesday, December 18th, we have a Christmas treat in store, because Fragments of Silicon will be reacting to the Computer Chronicles Christmas Buyer's Guide 1986.
Oh boy.
I'm like, couldn't do 1985 because LGR kind of beat us to the punch there.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, well, shit.
Look, they have many other buyer's guides.
I'm aware.
So we'll just go up 1 year. But I think you'll enjoy that more than watching the Power Team.
Variety is nice.
I mean, we kind of already did the shitty cartoon for MSP last week, so time for some Computer Chronicles cheer, I think. And we do have a new episode of MSP scheduled for then. And then we take off until Boxing Day. As we have a multi-mayhem special planned for that day. But more on that later. Anyway, so until next time, I shall wish you good gaming.